prostitutes who had syphilis. He then got them to give it to unsuspecting Guatemalan soldiers, mental health patients, and prisoners. They also directly infected certain individuals by, to quote Michael Cook from BioEdge, direct inoculations made from syphilis bacteria poured into men's penises and on forearms and faces that were slightly abraded, or in a few cases, through spinal punctures. It isn't known how many people died as a result of this, as the results of the study were never published. By the way, Dr. John Cutler faced no consequences for the numerous people that died in his experiments, and even led an illustrious and celebrated career, including at one point being an assistant to the US Surgeon General. Now, for another bonus fact, syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease, and one of the symptoms is marks on the hands and the face of the infected person. These marks could often be found during this time on Catholic priests, cardinals, and the Pope. It showed that celibacy couldn't be policed and was not always followed. For reference, Catholic priests were first required to be celibate in 304 AD thanks to the Council of Elvira, which resulted in Canon 33 stating, "Bishops, presbyters, and deacons, and all other clerics must abstain completely from their wives." However, this wasn't widely adopted at the time, and it wasn't until the Second Lateran Council of 1139 when priests were forbidden to marry. In 1563, the Council of Trent once again affirmed this stance on celibacy and against marriage. The priests are still human, however. In perhaps one of our favourite quotes from the famous theologian Martin Luther, he stated, "Nature never lets up. We are all driven to the secret sin." To say it crudely, but honestly, if it doesn't go into a woman, it goes into your shirt. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got a brand new video.
So it is a little crass, I realize. I'm a professor, if you can't tell, but I feel compelled to evaluate your assess your learning. When did the Tuskegee syphilis experiment begin? Ish? 30s. Thank you. When did it end? 72. Good, you got my birth year right. Okay, you didn't learn this, but some of us will know, hopefully, when did the President of the United States actually say Tuskegee syphilis experiment out loud and apologize it on behalf of the government? Good guess. It was the late 90s, it was Bill Clinton. I want to say 97, I may be off a year or two, but it took quite a while. So imagine something that went on for 40 years and then took another 25 years to actually apologize for. How many people were involved in the study? More or less? Something like 600, it was a good number. And remember the study population, African American, male, largely illiterate, extremely poor. Doesn't really sound like a good recipe for success, does it? So the reason that I show this is I would invite you all to think about the things that we're talking about with the COVID pandemic. We talk about them all the time, we're all living it, we're just all living it slightly differently. So when we hear about health disparities, which we hear about all the time and are real things, I'd invite us to think about, are there historic precedents or historic reasons why they may exist? I'm not saying you like them or that you agree with them, just understanding the background that may have gotten us to this point. I'll give you one or two other examples and then I'll shut up. If you want to learn more about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, by the way, there's a really good book called Bad Blood. The author is James H. Jones. It's written for a lay audience. It's not particularly scientific in orientation, but it's very much this kind of approach of interviews and basic facts and kind of the general setting at the time. Really good. But there are additional examples, many in the literature. So I think for both Robin's class and Kyle's class, I also showed a video on HIV clinical trials and things that have gone slightly sideways, particularly in resource-limited settings, developing countries where people may not really fully understand the study that they are being enrolled in, say, as a clinical trial for their HIV therapy. There are other examples, though, that you can hear about in the prisoner populations where we've tested things like shampoos, deodorants, etc., that had toxic elements, and at the time, we did not have any regulations over the use of prisoners in medical studies, and essentially we have a captive audience, and we say, here, do this. Now, we don't do that anymore, but there are plenty of examples there. And then one final example, just so that you don't think that I'm bashing everybody outside of Cincinnati. We actually have the Cincinnati radiation experiment. Look that up on Wikipedia. I can't tell you a whole lot about it because there's not actually a whole lot written about it. But it was actually conducted at the University of Cincinnati in the Children's Hospital in the 70s. And it is available on Wikipedia, so all you have to type in is Cincinnati radiation experiments, where we were exposing people knowingly to sublethal doses of radiation, but then looking at what the responses are. The reason I give all those examples again is to go back to thinking about when you're talking and we are talking amongst our friends, our family members, etc. Think about whether there are hidden reasons behind somebody's reticence to wear a mask, or why they don't understand the information that is being given to them. We tend to think that education is the panacea for everything. Here's information about COVID, now you're gonna wear a mask and now you're gonna get a vaccine, right? But there are many historical examples in this country and others why that may not really be the case, and we may have created a situation where a lot of people may distrust public health or medicine, etc. So with that, I will let us get on to our next part of the agenda and hand the mic back. Thank you.
Yeah, the next part of the agenda is dinner.
Hi everybody, I'm Maria. Some of you may know me. I am just here to first welcome you, but second to remind you that we have all of these lovely auction baskets, and at your table you will find a paper that explains how we're doing our silent auction tonight. It's not going to be a loud auction, it's going to be done off of your phone. So the gala bid instructions are at your table. Currently, Noah and I are fighting over the tequila basket. I dare one of you to try to bid a little bit higher. But yeah, we also have a 50-50 raffle going on this year. So for those of you who don't know what a 50-50 raffle is, it's also on that same gala bid website. $2 tickets. However much money we're able to get based on those tickets, the winner of the raffle receives half of that amount. The other half will go to social action for women and children. So the more tickets you get, the more we support SAW, and the more chances you have to win a nice prize for your after party. I'll give the mic back.
Yeah, that's really important. All I had to say was dinner, but after dinner we're going to hear from Sasha Singh, our second speaker. So thanks guys.